Hey, welcome to another Buckman's Model Mania stream. And tonight we'll be working on the Volkswagen T1. And there's a reason why I did the generic HTM startup. I forgot I didn't have one on StreamYard for the Samba. So it's like, we're 3 seconds, 5 seconds beyond start time. And I'm like, oh, crap, I don't have time to do this. We're just going with the HTM one.
Whatever works.
Yep. And Todd is hiding in the background tonight. I will tell you, it's 60 or 77 degrees in here, but God, it feels hot. It's only 68 outside. I've had the front door with the screen door on the front door, had the room to the shop, windows open all over the house because this house picks up heat and it doesn't let go of it. It is hot. But the problem is that we're in the Midwest and we're possibly going to get storms. We've had thunderstorms since Saturday. As a matter of fact, we had an air show out at Scott. They canceled the air show on Saturday because the thunderstorms were that bad. Sunday they didn't, so I got to hear airplanes flying through my house. So let me switch over to the shop or the table cameras. No, by the way, you can see behind me is the tram. The dial is still right there. It is very close. That should be, I'm expecting to finish the Lisbon dial by this weekend, either on Friday or Sunday stream. So let's switch over to the Samba. And
I realized that I probably need to tone down the volume on that intro a little bit more.
Well, and I turned it down to just a hair on my speakers here because.
Yep. No, I need to kill it by another 3 decibel.
Yeah, it was booming.
Yep.
So didn't stream last week, but the week before, they gave me pack 42 parts, and in pack 42 we did the parts for pack 41. Pack 43, which is right here, it's doing the exact same thing. It says right here, you got the pack 43 parts, set them aside because we're working on pack 42. Hey, Steve, welcome. So let me get this opened. I don't have a really good spot on the bench right now to cut because of
Hi, Steve.
The nice thing is that the pad tells me where I'm in camera. I don't know if I've ever pointed that out. I am really liking this because it is an actual official licensed by VW product.
They have to do that.
Yeah. Well, and
remember the Ecto had a QR code on it you could scan to say how happy are you with the quality of this product?
Yep. I remember that. And actually, I've been watching the videos like you suggested on the Xenomorph.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do some financial juggling, but I am going to build the Xenomorph. I like it.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And I'm probably going to do what the Nexus is doing, but not cut them down to 2 and 3 minutes. I'm probably going to build the Xenomorph in small pieces, just like I'm probably going to do that with the Moomin house.
Now, what do you mean? Like 4 packs at a time, or?
No, what he's doing is 1 pack at a time. Just he's doing them as videos rather than streams.
Oh, okay.
Might do that. I might. Depends on what I've got going on, how much I've got to do on my Monday streams.
How are you going to hang out with Steve?
I don't know. How am I going to hang out with Steve?
You just put out videos.
Actually,
it's so one-sided.
Well, I'm going to hang out with Katrina instead because I'm going to be doing the Fan Home Optimus Prime, and she's doing the Agora Optimus Prime.
I know that should be good. I want to do the Fan Home. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Oh, I sat there and I looked at it, and then I looked over to my wife and I said, "What do you think?" She said, "Yep, you need that." It is awesome to have a wife that supports my hobby. Okay, so I just put away the BP06 and BP08 screws that came with issue 42. In issue 42. In issue 42, let me see. And I don't have it here. It looks like this is just the bottom of this is all engine parts. All of them are plastic. We got a couple of tubes here, and all the identification, the verbiage that identifies what they are is in the other book, which I don't have handy. And this, on the other hand, for issue 43, easy. Engine support.
Are those push rod tubes on that? Are those the tubes for the push rods?
Absolutely.
The top of the cylinder? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I looked at that, and during the last stream when I did that, I looked at that, and I was like, that is so wild. They have just little tubes for the push rods. Okay, so it says, let's see, fit the posts on here. 2 holes indicated the engine block, and sure is shown. Okay, so on here, you've got a larger and a smaller hole. Larger and a smaller peg. It does not say to glue it. It just says fit it. So hopefully that's all, Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be something that holds the engine block on.
Are you going to be doing any painting to the engine?
I'm not planning on it. This is pretty much going to be a straight stock build. I almost didn't get a screw stick out. I was sitting on the bench. Insert the left exhaust pipe, and how do you tell which is which? Willing to bet there's no really distinguishing features on these other than it looks like the details of the screw bolts coming through are going to come down through. Well, there you go. That's how you tell which one is which. There's an R on there. So this is the left one.
Did you say you were going to Wonderfest?
Don't know yet. If I do, it's going to be an out and back. Not going to spend the night.
I gotcha. You know we're all going to be there, Buck.
I know. Not everybody. Eric's not going to make it.
You're not going to pick him up on the way?
It'd be going the wrong direction.
Tell Gilly to pick him up on the way.
I don't think Gilly's going to be there either.
No, but I think Donnie's going. Me and Steve are going.
Yeah.
Ian's going.
Donnie could pick me up on the way.
There you go.
So let's see. Insert it in here, and it says a BP08 screw from the inside. You know what? I'm almost to the point. I'm contemplating those Wera screwdrivers more and more often.
I love them. I finally had to replace my PHO, and I didn't even get rid of the old one. I use it for screws that don't, or have a little more less tolerance.
Yeah. Well, you saw this is too big to get into that area there. So let me get that. I don't know if you can see it right there. First part of the metal for the frame of the car.
What is the engine support? What are you pointing at? That's off screen.
No, it's not. It's right here.
That thing. Okay.
The red piece. Believe that is part of the frame for the car. So, and of course, do the right side, same thing. And I didn't show this. You can see there's a keyway and a key that goes in there. So you can't get it in there backwards. Get another 08 screw. And of course I pushed the plastic part out with the screw. Yeah, I don't know still whether I'm going to make it to Wonderfest or not, because I will be honest. One of the reasons you go to something like Wonderfest is to go shopping, and with what I've got I'm signed up for Partworks right now. There is no shopping allowed.
I'm just going to hang out with everybody.
Yeah, I might. Not positive yet. Okay. So let's go like that, and then take like this. Oh, yeah. So yeah, the first thing you do after you turn this around, right lower cooling, and that was the right, I believe. Yeah. So like I said, something is going to hold that block down. That something being the air cooler, or what was it they called it? Oh, the exhaust pipe. No, that's the exhaust pipe. This is the cooling. I sound like I know something about this car, don't I?
I thought you said you had one.
I was 5. My parents had one. 2 BPO6s. But I did quote unquote drive it. Sat in my dad's lap while he operated the gas and the brake pedal, and I drove into the driveway. Of course, with the vintage of the car, I really didn't steer it either, because back then it was Armstrong power steering. Took you a second to pick that up on that, didn't it?
And 260 air conditioning?
Oh no, 860. Think
Sorry,
about how many windows this thing has.
I was emailing, yeah, right. I was emailing StreamYards back because on our last stream I put a negative result. It says that when you finish the stream, it says, "How was your stream? Yes or no, good or bad?" And I said bad because I wanted to put a comment in there, and I'm like, how come I can't tell where the comments come from? Right? I can see that they come from, like Steve's comment. I can see his logo and his name, but not which channel he's watching. Right? And I said, we should know which destination they come from. And he's like, it does show that. I'm like, no, it doesn't. So I took a screenshot of this and I sent it to him to prove it.
Well, and speaking of which, I may have to get in touch with Nadine, because the stuff that we talked about has not yet shown up. It may just not show up on the account, which, if that's the way it works out, I'm fine with that.
But she should make it clear.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I'll email her and say, can you verify?
Yeah.
So it says to put these over top. So these are the valve cover clips. And it says to put them in here, but I'm thinking that they will probably not stay very well if they're not glued. Yeah. I just touched it and it fell out. I know I have, there it is. I was going to say, I know I have plenty of little plastic pieces that I can put glue on. And I have literally, actually, I think this bottle had a half of another bottle put into it. I actually got still a few drops, not very much. I'm very impressed with how long I've made this bottle go. Is what happens. My wife doesn't mean to, but she ends up gumming up the top of when she has one. When she gums it up, I trade her for the one I've got because mine is pristine, and then I clean it up and I use it until she gums up the one I gave her, and I give her a brand new one. Because she's like Eric likes to do. Eric likes to buy the ones that, what is it? They come in what looks like a squeeze tube.
Yeah, that's what I have, like the Loctites, and it's just actually a small tube inside a handle.
Yep, pretty much. And
once you think it's empty, you can get in there and squeeze more out of it if you break the handle off.
Well, the problem is that little bitty tube in there, usually 3 or 4 of them cost as much as this entire tube.
Yep.
And I would rather use this entire tube because, well, what is it? BSI Industries glue.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Smith Industries.
Yep. I have some of his.
I've been using those forever.
I have some of his. I think I have some of his glue. I have some of his debonder.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I mean the Uncure. And I've got. Let's see. Actually, the Uncure is BSI. Model Expo, it's BSI. It's just rebranded. And then the black super glue. Trying to remember who said I should get that. It was when I was working on the Enterprise. You don't know who that might have been, do you?
It's probably the guy with the site, yeah.
Yeah, that guy with the site. And that is all of issue 42 put together using book 43. It is kind of funky. I can feel it. It's not going to matter when it's in the car, but I can feel it. The fact that it's not glued down.
And they don't have you glue it, huh?
Nope.
And there's no screw holes or anything.
Well, see, you got this hole right here. It goes all the way through. So something's going to go through there.
Is it some kind of peg or something like that?
Yeah.
I wonder if it sits on some kind of peg. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a keyway there. Plus, the first thing you do is you put these cooling intakes on top of it, and that's holding it down with the push rod tubes. Okay, so let me double check. Let's see, what's it say? Oh, look at that. We'll be using the parts from 44, which is the fan housing 44 cylinder cooling tins. No, we'll be using the parts from 44 and 43, which is nice. Did you see? I went everywhere today when I posted this. I went on, Part Work Upgrades. Speaking of which, I cannot wait to see on not Part Work Upgrades, but what is his channel? I forget his channel, but there's somebody from Part Work Upgrades is doing the Eiffel Tower. I am looking forward to the.
Was that Spider Sprue? I thought was doing it.
Yes.
Was that him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw some posts on that where people are talking about like it's a ton of fiber optics to make all the little lights and a bunch of little tiny pieces of metal and it has more screws than like 10 Routemaster buses. So
It is all photo etch.
oh my god, are you kidding?
No.
Oh, is it already cut out of it or is it on sheets?
No, it's already pre-cut. Spider Screw did issues 1 through 3, and you can see that they're all pre-cut.
Are they pre-bent?
And are they pre-bent? I think they are. But he said that he broke a bracket or broke 2 brackets on issue 8. So he's getting in touch with IXO to find out if they'll, which I'm sure they will, send him replacement parts. So these are BP09 screws. I'm sitting here looking at the ones that come with this issue, and I'm like, why does it say BP03? Because these came from a different issue. Yeah, that should fit. I was looking and going, will this fit? So far, this one little screw box looks like it might fit everything. But on the other hand, I'm on issue 44 out of 120. They have plenty of time to come up with other screws. So put those in there. So we take the motor mount, and it said tube. I remember it said tube, but I'm not sure. That looks almost like an oil tube of some sort. I hear birds outside.
Don't they usually run away in a storm? It means no storm coming.
It's not storming right now. I was over the weekend. And the robin's nest that we have in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
It is so neat to go out there. It's funny because I actually went out there today, and when I went and got the mail, I stopped and looked, and Mama Bird got up on the babies are big enough now that Mama Bird gets upset now. Before it was
Look who's
like,
here.
okay, no, huh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Hey, Eric.
But it's been one of these things of it was no great loss because they were still really small. But now she's like, no, I put too much effort into these. Get away from my babies. But it's funny because the babies are now starting to do the same thing, going, no, go away. We don't want you here. Okay, so this tube should go on like this, but I'm looking. Well, come on, focus. So you got 2 pins in the screw hole, 3 holes here, and the tube points this direction out the back. Or is that out I think that's actually towards the front. But I'm looking and I don't know. Yeah, it seems like those pins don't want to line up. They don't line up on this side either. Hang on.
It sits on that raised part, right? That matches the shape.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Except that it's putting the screw through here. No wonder it's not. No wonder it's not lining up. It doesn't go here or here. It goes right there.
Oh. Goes on the
So
bottom
that's
of
not
it.
going to be an oil. That's not going to be an oil tube. That's going to be a drain tube of some sort. But there's there's nothing to drain on this engine.
And maybe the exhaust? Is that an exhaust pipe?
That could be. Now my interest is piqued. Let's see what it says in here. Okay, 43-2 says tube.
Tube.
It is just a tube. Okay, secure it with a BPO3. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it says BPO3. Hang on. Now I'm confused.
Oh, we got a bunch of people now. Look at this. There's Gilly.
Hey, Gilly.
Gilly, we've decided you have to come to Wonderfest and pick up Eric on the way. The tribe has spoken. We were talking about it earlier before you got here when you couldn't say no.
Yeah. Okay, that should fit.
He laughed at us. Huh. Eric's not laughing.
Really? Yeah, Eric's like, yeah. 43-3 is a BPO4, not a BPO3. No, that is way too big. It's got to be this BPO9, which means note to anybody who does this that the screws are mislabeled in step 44C. It's asking for a BPO3, but it should be a BPO9.
I wonder if that's a misprint or maybe the magazine, the 9 looks like a 3.
No, it says BPO3. It is.
They made a mistake, apparently.
Yep.
Did this particular issue come with BPO3s or BPO9s?
BPO9 came with this issue. It came with
Yeah.
BPO4s and BPO9s.
See? Eric wants to go to Wonderfest, Gilly.
And that 9 went in there so well. And let me show you. Right there, it says BPO3.
Right, and if you go to stage 43 and it's what's 43-4 in the instructions of, do you have issue 43 nearby?
Yeah, it's a BPO4.
Wait, 43-4 is a BPO4 in the issue 43. The instructions say a BPO3, and you really need to use a BPO9.
Right, because this is a BP. Well, hang on. This is a BPO4.
Oh,
That is a BPO9.
wow! So it's just wrong on many levels.
Yep.
Excellent.
And the 3 might have fit.
Yeah, it's a pretty small
But
part.
I would rather use the 9 that did fit.
You're gonna have tons of extra screws. You know how these go.
Oh, yeah. And at least they're labeled because there's a lot of the xenomorph. The xenomorph is all this kind of screw, maybe. You know, we've done that before. Okay, so the rounded part goes that direction. Hang on. I'm looking at it going, so the rounded goes to the same side as these vents do, and trying to put it on backwards.
Probably not going to work
So that
out that
sits
well.
on, yeah, that
There you
sits
go.
on there.
Gilly got you. He's looking out for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Gilly. And now we use BPO force.
You sure? Because now I'd worry that all the screws are wrong.
Well, see, the holes for these, those holes look big enough for the BPO force.
And is any of this metal or is this all plastic?
This part is all plastic. I don't remember who it was, but I remember somebody said that they didn't like the way the engine was at all. The engine is just like the engine on the DeLorean, on the Ghostbuster. It's an engine that you're going to put in the car, close it, and never look at it again.
Mm-hmm. There's only one model that I would probably open up to look at the engine a lot, and that's the Mura, because that engine is beautiful.
I was actually going to say, when you started saying that, I was like, yep, the Mura.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are modifying the heck out of the engine bay of their like Knight Riders.
Yeah.
Adding a bunch of stuff to it because it's kind of plain, out of the box. But again, that's one of those. Are you going to open the hood? You never saw that. You never saw into the hood, or at least you glimpsed the side of it on the show. So
yeah,
it's kind of arbitrary what was actually under there.
It was a 4-banger underneath there. They couldn't afford anything else.
It had like a 328 in it, I think, like the V8.
Yeah,
the Firebirds they used. I mean, you could see the round air cleaner. Sometimes from the side shots where the hood was open, you could glimpse the edge of the air cleaner. And then when Kit was on its side after Goliath, there's like random, air cleaner parts and stuff laying around. I'm like,
well, and that's the thing. There's actually one out there that I would love them to release, but they never will. I don't think you'll ever see a part work for the General Lee.
No, but there's people that have modified the Dodge Charger to look like the General Lee.
Ah.
They took the Dom's Charger and absolutely painted it orange, put the Confederate flag on it, put the 01 on the doors, the whole bit. The last time I saw a picture, he was looking for wheels, trying to find some 1/8 wheels he could put on it to match. But yeah, you're right. They'll never make the General Lee.
No.
I have a list of 4 part works that I would love to see get made that aren't out there now. That is on my list. The Johnny 5, the Airwolf, the helicopter, the hovercraft, the Nebuchadnezzar from Matrix. I think would be badass in a part work, and then the Union Pacific 4014, the big boy locomotive.
Which one?
The UP 4014, the big boy. That Union
Actually,
Pacific just restored.
I believe that Oakry makes that as a wooden kit.
Yeah. It's the biggest it was the biggest steam locomotive ever made. I mean, I went up and saw it in Provo, Utah. Put my hands on it. I'm like, oh, love that thing.
I like Eric's thought about the Bandit Trans Am, except for they probably will never make it since Revell came out with the Bandit Trans Am as a 1/16 scale.
Well, and you have to look at your audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at, are you going to sell enough of them to invest, $100 or $200 or $250,000 into it?
Yep. All right. So you got the fan housing. Got this tube that comes out of here. There's 2 holes here. 2 posts. One of them has a screw hole in it. That's going to go on there like that. And then a BP03. That's a small enough hole. for the BPO3. Doesn't need to be a 9. Plus, the BPO3 came with these parts. That was the other thing that clued me into the 9 is because the 9 came with that part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that. You can see the screw, the tubes on there. Then this housing is going to go. It's got 2 posts on the bottom with screw holes. Those posts are going to go into those holes with the closed part facing towards me now. So it's going to be like that. That should be BPO4s, I believe. That's interesting. And it is. It's different size posts. It says a BPO3 on one side and a BPO4 on the other. So I'll go with the 4 first. Maybe 3. Get it started. Thought I had the 4 started. Guess I didn't. Because it popped right out. Wasn't that cute? I think there's your problem. Yeah, there's the problem.
There's your problem right there.
Well, you want to know what the problem is? I'm putting them in the wrong side. The 4 will not go into the hole for the 3. And the 3 will go right through the hole for the 4. Because after I screwed it in, it fell out and it's sitting right there.
So is that the second time you put something on backwards?
No, not yet.
Eric says Ravel's Bandit is cool, but a part would be bigger and 1/8 scale and lit with working doors, hoods, and so on. Yeah, because the Ravel's a curbside, right? Right, the doors don't open, etc.
I don't remember if it is or not. I think it might be. Okay. So there's that. This is going somewhere. I'm not sure yet. That's the end of stage 44. And Gilly said, yeah, it is. So stage 45, new engine parts. Such as carburetor, intake manifold, generator, and pump. Other parts should be carefully stowed away. So here's parts for 45. So let me get them all out and then hope I don't have to put any of them away. That is the biggest part on the engine so far. That's a fairly large piece.
Is this still all plastic? Are we waiting? We're waiting till we get to the chassis before we see some metal.
Yeah, I think the engine's all plastic. It's a little bit rubbery, the belt. That's kind of nice.
Eric thinks there'd be more interest in the Bandit than Airwolf. I don't know. A Bandit is definitely older. See, I mean, you have to look at your audience again. I think part work builders are 35 and up-ish. 30s. And Gilly
That
wants
is
the Peterbilt.
kind of cool.
Oh, was that a little fuel pump?
Yeah. But I think it's really cool that the lines are already attached. Because you know as well as I do, because you put some of those lines on. They suck. Another new screw type, BP10. And this one might be too big. No, it's the same size. Good. And I can agree with Gilly. I want the Peterbilt as well.
I would do that.
At this point, I'm sitting here watching to see because I'm going to be juggling part works.
Yeah, I feel it coming. Because right now I'm almost done with the Iron Man. I'm almost done with Iron Man. I'm almost done with the Miura. I actually have the parts and the instructions to finish it, so that'll be off the plate. The Ladder 9 is done. The Titanic's still being worked on. But the Ecto, the Eleanor, and the Enterprise are all starting back up. Oh. And if I do Optimus...
That's the thing, is that the Ecto and the Iron Man getting off my plate is actually going to help me out. The next few months are going to be iffy, but I think that by November or so, I'll be back to where I'm comfortable and able to go out and buy more wooden models. I need to stop that.
What does Steve say?
Okay,
Steve,
so...
One sec, real quick. Steve says, Airwolf over Trans Am. I agree, Steve. I agree.
Yep.
Eric says, shut up. And Gilly says, hi.
So, actually, here's the answer for Eric. Be quiet. The adults are speaking.
What would you rather build? Would you rather build Smokey, or would you rather do Bandits Trans Am?
Let me put it this way. I would rather do... I'm not sure. Probably Airwolf, because if I'm... Is it... Yeah, there it is. I have a 1/16 scale, 1/16 scale Trans Am here already. And that Revell one was 1/8. Had to be.
Was it? That's a big model.
Yeah. HPI guy did it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so retrieve cylinder tins and fan housing. Assembly, attach intake manifold, positioning it as shown. So you got pins on the bottom, a keyway, and a screw. The pins are not connecting to anything, but these got the keyway there, so it's going to have to go on here like that. And that's why the pins aren't connecting to anything. They actually extend out beyond the edge of the housing. And that is actually going to get put in with a BPO4.
So that has to be the exhaust.
No, right. That's the intake.
That's the intake. Okay.
Maybe that little one is the exhaust.
Because those 4 pins look like they're going to line up to those pipes you already put in, the tubes.
Hang on. Yeah, but the thing is, where is that thing? There's only one tube right there. Those 4 pipes are going to line up here.
Okay.
Hang on. Let's try this again. It wasn't going in there. There we go. So screw in the bottom there. Putting the intake manifold in like that. Then we have, by the way, I did this on the 1/16 scale one, some of this stuff, it's not quite as intricate, but I did some of this. This is so much easier because it's bigger.
Is that a little crooked? Looks like it might need to be twisted a little bit. You know how it is when you have keyed posts? No, look at it from the other direction, where the top down. Yeah, like that. You know when it is, you tighten a keyed post and sometimes it'll twist it.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Eric says Rebels Bandit is 1/8. He posted a link to it in Discord.
That's what I thought it was.
He did say 1/16 earlier, didn't he?
He did. So place the oil filter tube, this one, into the L-shaped hole right here. Like that. Let me see. I was going to say that might get some glue, but no. And the oil filter tube goes on here, and if I remember right, the generator goes on here. Only 158 parts, so definitely a curbside.
Is that oil filter? Is it like a breather? And is it already pre-painted?
Yes.
The little black part's already pre-painted. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then sorry, I'm not showing as much as I should. Carburetor at the top of the intake manifold. So there's the carburetor. And it sits on top of this square post there. I'm just looking. Something is going to go on there.
What is that?
This is the carburetor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, Donnie's here. Hi, Donnie.
Hey, Donnie.
He says you still need to paint it like a hippie van. I agree.
So the carburetor goes on there just like that. Oh, you know what's going to go on there? On those two little holes? 2 of those. Or maybe not. Insert the ends of the throttle lever into the holes on the fan housing and carburetor to ensure it correctly fitted as shown in the round piece. So okay. So here's the linkage for the throttle. This pin is going to go into that hole, and then down here, let's see where, yeah, it's down here, right up underneath there is where the other pin is going to go. This so much reminds me of the X-Wing. Some of the little pieces that you had to put on the X-Wing.
Yeah, but at least you can open the trunk and see this. You did all those pipes and exhaust tubes and everything on the X-Wing, and then you covered up.
Oh, no. Well, after I covered it up, then I put the lighting kit in there and I ripped it out. All that crap that was on the inside of the engine is gone.
Yeah.
This, it looks like, that's there. I was going to say I might have to glue this. But no, once you friction fit this to where it sticks out or sticks flush on here, and now it's pulling enough to where this is now solidly in there. It's never going to come out. Carburetor on a stick. Okay, so we've got assembled 2 parts of a small pulley. Ensure they are placed as shown in the round picture. Oh, that's nice. The pulley is black but painted silver.
That is cool. That actually looks pretty good.
And the 2 pins on the pulley, on the other side of the pulley here, go out. There's a keyway. So I take the keyway, push it on here, and you end up with it just like that. And the 2 pins on this side. And then that goes on to
I have no idea what he means. Oh, I get it. Is the carb name Jose on a
on a
stick?
stick.
My name is Jose. I'm jalapeno on a stick.
On a stick. Okay.
They are.
So you got those 2 keyways. That's where those pins go. This is the generator. And if there is, I was going to say, if there's not a screw holding this whole thing together, it needs to be glued. However, the BP10 screw, getting out the cheeserific screwdriver again, goes into the back of the generator. And I didn't show it, so I'll grab one of them. It holds the whole thing assembly together because it has a flange on it. Nice little flangey. So there's the generator fully assembled. By the way, remember what I said about the oil filter holder or oil filter pipe and the generator going on top of it? I am not kidding. That's exactly the way it was on the Revell one. So that is the generator on there. And I'm just looking, thinking it
Don't
might
do that too much.
I know, might catch fire. So I'm looking at it and thinking I might need to glue it, but I'm going to wait and see because there's a piece that goes on here, and if there's that post there, and if it holds it on, then I won't. But if I have to, I will just glue it from the back.
There's nothing that holds it there?
Well, there we go. If you push it far enough to where it snaps and it's now flush, it's good to go.
There you go.
So the last piece that goes on in this stage is the fuel pump. The fuel pump goes into that little oblong, not that one, that little oblong hole there, this little post. And I thought that those hoses were going to go into the carburetor, but they do not. They actually go into the housing here.
Feels like that would have been easier to do before you put the intake manifold on.
Probably, but that just looking at this, definitely you can see how loose it is, and that's all the way down. Is that thin enough to where I can actually get it on there? No, not really. That's getting glued. And instead of trying to mess with it from the top side, I'm going to just put it on the bottom. That should hold it in place. The friction fit is going to hold it in place for right now. And then, let's see, those two. So you see these two holes right there? That's where those two pipes go. And this is where we find out if this is really as bad as it was on the X-Wing.
Wow. Eric's getting no love. Everybody says Airwolf. Eric's the only one that wants to build a Bandit Trans Am, so he should call somebody.
You mean call somebody who cares?
I mean, call like one of the companies and tell them. Poor Eric. He gets no support.
Yeah. And I wonder it went in that first one so easily. Put it in the wrong hole.
Ooh, don't do that.
It is so good that we mark everything not for children. And so you can see those two holes where the pipe comes out. That, I think, deserves a dot of glue.
I was waiting for it. Donnie came in for the dunk on the assist there.
Thanks, Donnie. I knew I could trust somebody.
Do you want to show those pipes from the front now? Let's see them from the front. See them going in. There you go. Got it.
So this one is actually supposed to just hang off over there somewhere.
Perfect.
That's actually pretty cool because, oh, you know what? That's what's going to go on top of that post is the air cleaner. Because you got the carburetor, that's where the air cleaner is. Don't know why your fuel lines are going through the firewall before they come into the carburetor.
Now, was this the same engine that they used in the Beatles?
I believe it. I think so. I don't know for sure. I mean, it's probably close to the same engine they used in the lawnmower. Assemble the rest of the engine parts. Parts included with this issue. These parts are stored for later use. So you got the engine cradle. That's pretty impressive. There's vacuum advance lines, ignition coils normal, carburetor fuel line, spark plug cables. But the fact that they had vacuum lines in a 62 says it on the license plate. And Donnie's probably going to come back with, that's not really impressive. So we got these few parts left. Fit the distributor on the upper part of the engine and ensure it is located with, as shown in the round picture. So there's the distributor, no cap. Guess the cap is coming later. Oh, yeah, duh. It's in the parts that I just showed. It has a keyway. It has a square peg on the bottom. And it goes right next to the fuel pump in that square hole. It ain't one of those lame water cooled ones they use now.
Is there any actual cars that still use air cooled? I know bikes. There's bikes that are air cooled.
I want to. Well, there are motorcycles that are water cooled.
Oh, I know that. But I mean, some of the smaller ones aren't. But any bigger bike is going to be water cooled. But I'm curious. I don't think there's any more. There's still cars that use boxer engines, Porsches and stuff. But I think they're all water cooled at this point, aren't they?
Unless maybe the new Beetle.
I can't imagine. Eric says, put the motor from Dom's Charger in it. I agree. Put that big Hemi in there.
I had an 84 Celica in Germany. And I so bad wanted to get a 452 big block and take out the back seat and put it in there. Japanese little, lightweight car, 452 big block. Nobody would see it coming. That thing would take off like Dom's Charger, lifting the front end off and everything. Okay. So there's the distributor in place. And it's snug enough I don't need to glue it. Speaking of which, the fuel pump is now solid. Turn the engine over. Put the large pulley in this slot right here. This pulley right here is going to go in there. Like that. And then this.
Now, is it easier to put the belt on now before you lock that down?
I think it's going to be easier to put it on afterwards.
Okay. You said it's a little flexible, right?
Yeah. And there's 2 pins on the bottom of this piece here. This is the retaining piece for it. Make sure I got it on there the right. Yeah, I'm not building anything if I'm not dropping something.
It's over there.
No, it's right here. I got it. Try this again. So that's going to go on there. And actually, it's definitely going to be easier to put the pulley on once it's installed. Once this is installed, because it's really iffy getting it in there right now at all. Keeping it in there. But it's catching. I don't know if it's actually supposed to be able to turn. It looks like it because the peg is round. Much more better. Pop that on there. Hang on. There it is. I missed where it said what kind of screws, and I was like, wait a minute. Don't tell me to hold that on there and then put the screws on, or put the belt on and then put the screws in. Don't mess with me like that. Actually, I sanded that off so that the wheel could turn. I'm sitting here looking at the belt, And the belt is not going to turn no matter what.
Mm-hmm. You just seem like you're having such a good time. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, the alternator doesn't turn, does it? Or generator, I should say.
It doesn't. I'm sitting here wondering, I think I actually put that on backwards. Because it was going on, but it wasn't lining up right. The front edge was lifted. Come on, get back in there. The worst part about doing something like this is having so many little pieces sticking off of it that you can snap off.
Like the X-Wing
Like,
engines?
huh?
Like the X-Wing engines?
Yes.
Those things. Ugh.
Well, they said they were all supposed to be friction fit. Bullshit. I
Not a
glued
chance.
everyone.
No way. Yep. I glued mine too.
That was when I really got to where I was using the. Actually, I wasn't using the pin vise. I was using this paper clip. Don't ask me why that's still sitting in my pile of crap. So yeah, as I was putting this on, this was not lining up. It's because I had it backwards. Okay. So now pull it around the big pulley. And of course, since this is rubber, in about, I'd say 6 months, a year or so, it's going to dry rot and disappear.
Do you remember they sent new belts for the DeLorean because of that?
Yeah.
Looks good. I like the
Yep.
detail they put on the flywheel. Or the flywheel pulley.
Mm-hmm.
Crank pulley.
Oh, yeah. They did a good job on this.
You know, by the time they sent the belts, the replacement belts for the DeLorean, the engine was so far buried inside the chassis, I'm like, if it breaks, they break.
Yeah. So let me get this pipe back up out of the way, because now we're going to mount the engine to the bottom of this thing. Just looking. Ah, so very clever. So that spot that I was trying to put that pipe on earlier, there's 4 of them with the bolt detail on there. And that is where those pipes go.
Oh, perfect.
Just like that. I don't think the engine on the Revell, though, hangs out of the bottom of the car. So you turn this over.
Gilly says, cool. It does look good. I'll give it that.
So you got that keyway. Remember I mentioned there was a keyway there? That's how that goes in there. And that gets bolted in or screwed in. And it says, secure the oil strainer cover BP04. Okay. Yeah. I'm sitting here reading it. I'm going, the hell are you trying to tell me? There we go. And this is again, you got to use one of these. You got to use the hokey screwdriver because there's no way this can fit down inside there. 04 goes down here. That's not as far as I was thinking it was. I should be able to. No. So now that. Oh, you know what?
Is it nice and tight now? I bet that's what holds all that together, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the air cleaner, actually.
No, it's the bottom of the engine.
Yeah. Turn the engine over and oil strainer cover. Screw the oil strainer cover, turn the engine over, ensure the intake manifolds are properly engaged, and they all are. And then take that last free end of the hose from the fuel pump, the hole in the side of the engine. So way over here. Into that hole right there. That is long enough. It's not going to need to be glued because it literally sticks out the bottom right there. I don't remember who it was that didn't like this engine. I like it, actually. Let's see what 47 is. Here's the rest of the parts for the engine. And the chassis piece right here is stored away for later, which you can actually see where it's going to go because here, this is going to sit in here like that. And this is going to give the back of the van support that it needs because it's sagging. Let me show you. I actually happen to have it right behind me. So right now, I don't know if it's going to show very well. It's sagging a little bit because it's been sitting like this for a long time. And that's going to bring that back up to level. Oh, and I played with the brake pedal and the gas pedal again today. Just to see, because remember, they were kind of sticking a little bit. Works like a champ now. I can feel both of the switches engaging. Good. Set the screws in the glue. Fortunately, the glue's over here, not over here. Put the screws away. 2 more BP04s. That is a long set of spark plug. I think that's the spark plug wires.
Gilly says you broke them.
Good. Meant to. So So I don't think I'm going to need the screwdriver. Well, actually, there were some screws, but just a gut feeling that I'm not going to need the screwdriver very much. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you hear that?
The ding?
Yeah.
That's my phone.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here going, the heck is dinging?
Somebody's chatting in the enterprise group.
Ah.
I'll go hide my phone over here on the other side of the room. I need to go get a beverage anyway. I'll be right back.
Uh-huh. Okay, so this is the carefully examined spark plug cables. They have 4 supports which should be fitted in their corresponding holes of the fan housing and distributor following the number system. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4 on these from the left to right. And it goes 1, 2, 3, and then 4 over here. This could be interesting getting it in there. So let me start with 1. To insert, actually, hang on. To insert the spark plug cables, they should push behind the generator, behind the carburetor and generator stand, so they overhang on both sides. I believe that they go underneath.
Yeah, bean and cheese, extra cheese, and then carne asada fries with just cheese and sour cream, whatever. I don't know what they put on it. No pico or whatever.
Okay, so I'm figuring this out still. So it should go second. That is not going to fit over top, I don't think.
Gilly's overhearing me ordering dinner.
What?
Bean and cheese burrito, extra cheese, carne asada fries, no pico. Let's go.
Okay, yeah, that's going to have to go under. So I'm just looking, trying to figure out, and it's going to have to actually go under the generator behind the carburetor to get the spark plug wires where they need to go. So I'm going to put in 4 first. I'm going to work the opposite direction, opposite from the numerical sequence. So 4 is going to go right here. 3. Hang on, 4 is going to have to come back out. If I can get it back out, because 4 may not have wanted to glue those in, those 2 tubes in yet. Because I think the best way to get it in there to where I can get 3 to the carburetor, or not the carburetor, the distributor, is for 4 to go underneath. Come on, let go of that. There we go.
Gilly is recommending long nose tweezers, which he has.
I do. Problem is getting them in there. The problem is the pin on there is catching on everything. Once I get 4 over here and onto the fan housing, there, 4 is plugged in.
He says, do you have along those straight ones?
I do, somewhere. They're over there.
They're over there with everything else that's over there.
Yep. Nope, that's not going to work. I think it actually does go over top of the generator because 3 is keyed and goes into the distributor. So we'll get 3 in there first. That cannot be. You know what? I don't care how they number this. I'm going to do it the way that, well, crap. Actually, that doesn't work. Because 3 is keyed. And it shows it going up underneath. Goes over top of the 2 little pipes. Underneath. Put a roll of C4 on it. That'll fix it. It is almost like 4 is not quite long enough. Okay. You pull it just a hair further because you only have to do this once. Once it's done, it's there. I should go watch Horlicks's video and find out how he did it. Or Alex's, actually.
Yeah, I can't help. I got a phone call. I'll hang on, Buck.
All right. This is where we put on elevator music so nobody gets bored. Wait, we all are busy. Ah, you guys can be busy. I'm going to keep building. So it's a on the bottom of 3. There's a D-shaped hole. That's not glued in. I can pull that out of the way. The hole is D-shaped, and so the rubberized pin that is 3 is D-shaped to fit into that hole. 4 is in place. I almost think that this thing is not quite in the right place, but it's got to be, because that's the only way only place the holes are. Yeah, Todd needs to build this so that I know what to do here. Come on. Come on, baby. Okay, pull that back out of there. Get this back in here. That's better. That's in there. So 4 is in, 3 is in. 2 is down here behind the 2 pipes that I already put in, the 2 pipes that I glued in. And it would be a whole lot easier if 2 and 1 went over that side. But 3 is keyed to where you can't do that. Yes, a D-shaped hole. You know, one that's flat on one side. Yeah, take it apart to get it together. Exactly, Donnie. That is so close. Two's in. Okay. Oh, that's good. Now the carburetor's off. Or the, not carburetor, the distributor. Yeah, see, Donnie, that's a D-shaped hole.
All right, I'm back. What did I miss?
Nothing much. Had it almost together and it didn't quite fit, and so I took it apart.
Ah, wait a minute. You haven't got the spark plugs in yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, excellent. Let's see how much of this chat do you already read all the chat? Or roll a C4 to fix anything? Yeah, of course.
I've been reading it. I've been reading, well, not all of it, but some of it. So even though it's going to look screwy, probably, I'm putting, if it'll reach, I'm going to put 1 and 2 over where 4 is supposed to be. Which means, well, I'm going to put 1 where 4 is supposed to be, because 4 will work so much better where 1 is. Once it's in there, all you're going to know is there are wires running all over the place.
I need to make a VW van site. No, I'm not interested in building that van.
And the more you watch me do it, the more you're not interested.
No, it's just, it's one of those things, like, I have to be, like, remotely curious or have some background on it, like the Stingray. I don't care. I mean, it's a cool looking model, but I just don't want to spend all the time and effort to put a website together and all that just to build a model I'm not that interested in.
Yeah. I understand that. It might have been smarter to put these spark plug wires, maybe not all the way in place, but in place before.
Before which part? Before which step?
Before most of it. Before, if they'd have, the spark plug wires being attached to the fan housing probably would have made it a lot easier. But here's the funny thing. So I've now got it to where it should work. This is where I find out that the wires for 1 are not long enough to reach on 4. Actually, this is where I find out the hole for 1 isn't big enough for the pin for 4.
See, Gilly just read my mind. Do you not read ahead? I'll read all the issues before I build them. You don't read ahead?
No.
Okay, well.
When I first did the Terminator, I didn't even open the first package before I was streaming. Of course, the Terminator was the first thing I ever built on YouTube. Come on, fit in there. The Terminator was my quote-unquote world premiere.
So basically what you're saying is a T800 took your virginity?
It did.
Yeah. It terminated it?
Exactly.
But Gilly says you want the full building experience of these part works.
Exactly.
And Donnie says you don't read, you just look at the pictures.
There's words?
How would you know that they mislabeled those screws?
Yeah, that's true. I do look at some words. Oh, I don't want to say it because I know what's coming. But where the hell is my drill? Oh, come on, Todd.
Over there?
Thank you.
There you go.
I still can't find it. So,
Eric is the T800. He has so much metal in him. It's true.
Yep.
Gilly says over there. Well, I hate to leave you hanging, Buck, but my dinner's here, so I got to run.
All right. That
Take
means
care.
I have to do my own.
Yeah, you're going to have to do your own chat, yes. I will keep watching, though.
So I reamed that hole out just enough to where the pin will fall out. But once I put these plugs or these pins in, then I will be able to glue that in place. So yeah, instead of it being from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, it is now 4, 3, 2, 1, with 4 being on the very far left of the fan housing. There, I just popped those 2 spark plug wires in there. So this is supposed to be 4 here, and it's 1. This is 2 is where 2 is supposed to be. 3 is the distributor cap, and 4 is right here. I had to ream that hole out because it was not staying in. It wasn't not that it wasn't staying. It wasn't going in at all. It wasn't making it into where it was supposed to. But now I can get it in there. Let me get these 2 quote unquote spark plug wires in place. I'll put a drop of glue on the back of the yes, it's permanently in reverse. Think of it this way, Donnie. It was built on a Friday. For those of you that didn't see Donnie's comment, he just said, oops, oh crap, it's permanently in reverse. So right here, 4 is where 1 is supposed to be. And just take a little bit of glue, put it across that rubberized pin, and that'll hold it in place. And you really can't tell because it's just a bunch of wires. Let me put this pin back where it's supposed to be. Okay. Oh. Eric said, I'll buy that for $1. Donnie said, got to head off for bed. 4 gets here awfully early. Yes, it does. And actually, this is going longer than I expected. That's okay. So yeah, then it says to do what I just did, which is the spark plug wires. Next, install the carburetor fuel line, which is this. Drop that off of there. And it goes I'm just sitting here looking. I do not see where it's supposed to hook up to. Wouldn't that be funny if I had installed that part backwards, but it was keyed. Goes into the top, it goes in here, somewhere down under here is where it's supposed to plug in. Speaking of plugging in, I just looked at the spark plug wire part 2, and it's not attached to the bulkhead the way it's supposed to be, but I'm not going to sweat it. This kind of reminds me of the engine compartment on the bus. Some of that's on the Route Master bus. Some of that was very difficult to get in place. I do not see a hole for that to go into down there. So I'm going to see if I can get it to just go into the carburetor up here on the top. Slide it up underneath there. And they literally said on the Rootmaster to take parts off to be able to put some of the parts in place. I just lost that part somewhere in there. I do not even see it. And there it is. Now the Rootmaster, it had you pulling. It would help if I was putting it in the right way. Rootmaster actually had you pulling some parts back apart so you could put the parts in place. Once it goes in, it keeps coming back out. So Eric's still here, even though he's on his sleep meds. The bottom of this is not going to be visible, so I'm going to get the top of it in place where it's supposed to be and not sweat whether the bottom is plugged into the hole where it's supposed to be or not. Because I don't see a hole. Now there is no hole for it to plug into. So you've got this black line coming from the carburetor here, going down, and it's supposed to plug into that, into the fuel lines there, but there's nowhere for it to go into. So the last piece here, next, it should be inserted into a hole in the fan housing. Okay. Now I know where it's supposed to go. That'll teach me to read, won't it? See if I can get it up and around. Because it literally looked like it was trying to go, it was supposed to go into that silver piping. Okay, I can see the hole, but I can't. No, nothing's on backwards, Gilly. Except, well, yeah, there is one thing on backwards, but that's not affecting it. There is the pin for the piece that I just was fighting with, right there next to those other two. So let me pop some glue on there. And the spark plug wires don't matter that much, Gilly. Stop it. So Eric's still kicking on sleep meds. Gilly said something's on, maybe something's on backwards, and it is. That's okay. So the last piece is this thing. Next, fix the supports cables for the ignition coil. No, hang on. Install the carburetor fuel line position as shown. Base should be inserted in the hole in the fan housing. Next, fit the supports and cables of the ignition coil. The holes in the housing is indicated. So the ignition coil goes on here. So there's a pin and a screw hole going onto the fan housing here. Screw hole and a pin hole. And with that pin being rubberized, it's bent, which is going to make it a little bit of a pain to get into the hole. Okay, that's in the hole. I'm going to, instead, before I plug everything in, I'm going to, hang on, that piece. Where the hell is that piece? Okay, that goes on last. I know we all know it's there, but we'll never look at it again. And we'll never speak over this again, Gilly. Let us never speak of this again. So this, where did it go? Where did it go? I'm sitting here looking at it wrong. Can't figure out where the part is I'm supposed to be tightening down. Okay, so that goes on there like that. This cable, this pin, goes into the top of the distributor, which was 3 on the spark plug wires. Like I said, this seriously reminds me of some of the stuff on the bus, some of the stuff on the Ghostbuster car. There we go. So I just put that pin in the distributor there. So this square piece goes onto the top of the generator. Of course. Put this pipe on. Oh, by the way, the next thing you have to put in there has to go under that flipping pipe. Let's not make it easy. Okay, got that. It goes on top of the generator. Just like that. That right there. That's the part I just put on this then goes down here. Goes like that. And the last part that gets fit is the vacuum and fan slide. So that's going to go onto the pin on the distributor right there. And the other end is going to plug into carburetor. The bottom hole right there. Come on. Just like that. And there is the engine. All done. That is the end of book 47. So the only thing that's left from 47 now is that, and that will be done next week. So a little bit, not too bad. 5 stages, almost 2 hours. I'm just doing the 5 stages at a time because it's supposed to usually takes about an hour, but this one actually had a lot going on. Going to it, and I can understand why some people really. Come on, hang on a second. Oh, duh. Hitting the wrong button. I understand why some people really could really hate that engine. I liked it a lot. That was a lot of fun, actually. There were some difficult parts, but if it was easy, I probably wouldn't do it. So that's all for tonight. Like I said, 2-hour stream. Haven't done that in a while. Thanks, Gilly. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Like, subscribe. Come on over to Hobby Time Modelers and see what's going on. Join us on Facebook. Join us on YouTube. And I will catch you guys later. Have a great evening. Have a great day tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you we'll see you Friday for the Friday night builds. Have a good one, folks.